Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie, with a coffee. Now then, imagine getting to the respectable ages of 79 and 73 and then being shot by your neighbour in some sort of neighbour's dispute. And not only that, but your little dog being shot also by the same neighbour. This is what's happened to Stephanie and Dan and their little dog, Cuddles. They were shot, allegedly, by their neighbour, Michael Sparks, at a nudist colony, a nudist complex, where they'd all lived for a long, long time. Let's chat. So hello, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we live in. So just as you think you've heard it all, we've covered some cases recently that, sort of defy belief, don't they? Except they're true. True crime is always stranger than fiction. And once you get into true crime, you can't watch these silly detective stories on the telly anymore because none of them are anything like what happens in real life, day in, day out. And this story that I'm going to tell you about today is another of those cases. And this has happened recently, within the last week. First of all, I just want to say thank you to everyone for watching, liking, subscribing. Special thank you to my neighbours. That's I've got definitely not a special thank you to my neighbours. I've got neighbours on the brain because we've been talking about neighbours a lot in chat, and this case just shows how dangerous neighbours can get, or neighbours feuds between neighbours. So special thank you, in fact, to my members and to anyone who sent me a super chat, PayPal me, or bought me a Ko-fi. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. Okay, let me take this banner off. So, gosh, we're going to be talking today about an elderly couple. Seems like a lovely couple for what all the other neighbours say. Stephanie Maynard and Daniel Maynard. Let's put their picture up again. And they are thought to have been, the police are pretty convinced, that they have been murdered by their neighbour. And along with them being murdered, also their little dog Cuddles. Cuddles' body has been found. One other body has been found, but the body has not been formally identified. But you'll see in the police conference that we're going to look at in a moment, the police are pretty confident that the couple are unfortunately deceased and that they will recover their bodies. Now, it's a very strange case because I know neighbours' feuds can end in sort of terrible things happening. It does happen quite a lot. But the other thing is, this has happened on like a nudist ranch in California. We're going to have a look at that in a minute at this ranch, where it seems like people go to retire or they go on holiday, they go for special days. But it's a family-friendly nudist colony. So that just adds to the intrigue, if you like, of the whole thing. But this couple, they had lived there for quite a long time, and their neighbour, Michael Sparks, had been their neighbour for quite a long time. And he's about 10 years younger than them, or maybe a little bit more. So he's 62. Well, he's had a tough life, hasn't he? He's had a very tough life, in my opinion. Looks much older than 62. Whereas Stephanie is 73 and Dan is 79. Now, they've lived right next door to each other for quite a few years, but we'll find out as we go through the different videos we're going to look at and information I'm going to read you out. There were disputes. You know, it's hard with neighbours, isn't it? Because it's easy to dispute with neighbours, because that's, you know, apparently one big dispute was about a tree that overhung his property. You know, but that probably won't have been the only one. The only dispute, but normally disputes start over one thing, don't they? And then everything gets magnified more and more till everything they do is irritating, you know, to you, and vice versa. So seems like this tree had a lot to do with the arguments that they had. And Michael had said to people that he hated this poor couple, hated them with a vengeance. But what led to the final events, probably not yesterday, but the Saturday before, that's when the couple were reported missing. So that's probably when it all kicked off one way or another. What led to that final decision of his, you know, to kill them and their little dog? Who knows? Maybe it will come out, because Michael did attempt to delete himself, but luckily, and I'm glad, because we need to know what happened to this couple. And of course, if Michael would have died, then we would never have found out the unfolding of events. So hopefully we will find out the unfolding of events. That for the couple's family will be very important. So where do I start with this? I'll just say hello to anybody who's here, and then I probably won't be saying hello after that, because I'll get into the video. Hi, Jojo. Hi, Kelly. Oh, thank you. Hi, David. Hi, Maria. Hi, Heather. Yep, all good with me. Thank you. I know it's not for me either. Nudism. Nudism is not for me either. Just no. Hi, Daniel. But, you know, each to their own, not doing any harm. People who like, you know, practicing nudism, and that, as long as they're not doing any harm to anybody, that is, I think it's great that they've got the confidence to do that. I absolutely do. But for me, no, I like clothes. I like clothes. I like buying clothes. I like wearing clothes. I don't like walking around with no clothes on. And as far as men are concerned, I'm sorry, they look much better with clothes on, as far as I'm concerned. Give me a nice suit any day, or a uniform. So, you know, men without clothes just don't look nice. So no, not for me, but there you go. Okay, so let's just have a look at where this has happened, first of all. And it's happened in California, in Colton, California, which is here, is very close to, well, I say very close, probably not that close, but, you know, it's close enough that you can put both of them on the map, to Los Angeles, Bernardino National Forest. So it's called Colton. Looks like it might be in the middle of some like mountain reserves and things like that. So it's probably very beautiful, I would imagine. And let's have a look. I've got another little map here somewhere. So this is it, the Olive Dell Ranch RV Park. This is where it's happened. So we're in California, just off the coast, inland. And let's have a look at the place itself. Let me see, where's the home page? Home, where's the home page? Okay, let me share this. So the Olive Dell Ranch Park. So Olive Dell Ranch is Southern California's favorite nudist resort for families and couples. Oh my God. The thought of, I cannot imagine going with your family as well, you know, just like, I don't know, that just seems even worse. So families and couples located in Colton, California, just a few miles from San Bernardino and Riverside. Olive Dell's central location is close to many of Southern California's main tourist attractions. It's the ideal spot to enjoy the nudist or naturist lifestyle, whether visiting for the day or an overnight stay. Well, there's a lot of nudist beaches near where I am, but I avoid them like the plague. Just, you know, sometimes the people from the nudist beaches sort of stray onto the normal beaches. And sorry, I just think it's exhibitionism. It's all right on the nudist beach. That's what that's there for. If you're in a nudist colony like this, perfect. Everybody knows what to expect. But, you know, don't go bringing it onto beaches where people don't want that, because it's like, oh, my eyes, you know. It's like, don't inflict that on me because I don't want to see it. Sorry, I don't. You know, go on the nudist beach where people don't mind, but don't come onto the normal beach and inflict it on my eyes. Anyway, I noticed that, so they do a lot of special events. And they were supposed to have a special event, Paradise Weekend, Labor Day weekend on August the 30th. So this weekend was supposed to be a special event, but it's been cancelled. Apologies for the inconvenience. Now, it's probably been cancelled because the SWAT teams and police all over, where they had to, in the end, go into this guy's house, break into his house, break his house down. I mean, it's just incredible what's happened, because when the couple were reported missing, then the police got some information that they were at this person's house. So they went to this person's house. He did not answer the door. So then somebody else let them know that there was a bunker of some kind underneath this house, like an underbuild or an underground bunker, garage, whatever. So the police, the SWAT teams went in, raised the house to the ground practically, so they could get in the bottom into this bunker. And that's where they finally arrested the suspect, and they found human remains and also the remains of the little dog Cuddles. So I'm going to put a couple of windows down, and then we're going to start off looking at the first news items. So all this seemed to happen last weekend. As I say, this couple disappeared, and a friend reported them missing, hadn't seen them, reported them missing to the police. And anyway, let's have a look at a news conference from then. See, that's the man arrested and murdered. Okay, let's have a look at this one first. So I've got a few videos to show you. You know, I just think life is weird, isn't it? You would never. I mean, I just thought about this poor couple. They're elderly. They've lived a long life, and I hope they've had a lovely life. I hope they did have a good life while they got the chance to live it. But imagine, you go to live. I would imagine you go to live on one of these colonies because you want peace and quiet. You want to be able to be free, to be yourself, to do what you want to do. If you want to wander around in the nude, wander around in the nude. I suppose they're thinking they're going to meet like-minded people. And instead, they end up living next to this guy who seems to be some sort of survivalist. It seems like this may have been some kind of bunker under his home. And I'm not knocking that. A lot of people do that. And to be honest, I've thought about doing it myself. Having a bunker like with all it's like prepping, isn't it? Your survival needs. Of course, if you're in America, you'd have weapons. We can't. It's difficult to get hold of weapons here in Spain and in the UK. I mean, you could put knives and things down there, I suppose, but it's harder to get hold of guns. But this guy, it seems like he had this sort of survivalist bunker under his home. My question is, how did he get them into this bunker? So it makes you wonder, did he kill them somewhere else, take them to the bunker, the bodies to the bunker, or did he somehow get them to come into his bunker? I don't know. I doubt that very much because they didn't have a good relationship. So I'd be very surprised. I wonder if he did actually murder them elsewhere. Anyway, let's have a look at this. Fox News.
Welcome back in Alive Now. I'm Austin Westfall to Southern California for our next story, and there's a lot to unpack with this one. Officials have discovered human remains under a home in Redlands, California. The man who owns that home is suspected of murdering his neighbors, an elderly couple who call a nudist ranch home. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf is in Redlands, and he has more on the story. He joins us now. Matt, what can you tell us?
Oh, Austin, for the last week or so, people in this area have frantically been looking for this elderly couple. And tonight, police believe they have found their remains. And right now, police are actually still guarding the entrance to this neighborhood. A lot of people out here tell me they can't believe this happened. A nudist ranch in San Bernardino County now devastated.
It's sad.
Now, how often have we heard that? Watching these true crime stories, if you like, there's a few expressions that we hear over and over again. One is they just disappeared. People don't just disappear into thin air. People don't just vanish into thin air. That's one expression. How often have we heard that? And this other expression we hear all the time is, nothing like this ever happens here. I can't believe something like that has happened here. These are like tropes, if you like, that we hear all the time. Because yes, sometimes people do seem to vanish into thin air. They're somewhere, we just don't know where they are. And things happen everywhere. It doesn't matter if it's a nice neighborhood, if it's a rough neighborhood. Sometimes I think you're safer in a rough neighborhood because you're more careful. When you're in these nice neighborhoods, people don't take as much care, do they, with things, because you don't expect anything to happen.
It should have never happened.
The almost week-long search for Daniel and Stephanie Maynard ending Friday with their next-door neighbor, Royce Sparks, arrested for murder. The couple's possible remains discovered underneath his home.
We've located human.
So the SWAT team went in and literally, because he wouldn't come out, he was in the bunker underneath with the remains of this poor couple and their little dog. Why did he kill the dog? Do you know, they're such, what a twat, because whatever argument he had with the couple, I don't know whether Stephanie and Ron really upset him. Maybe they're horrible. I don't know. But the thing is, what has the dog done to him? Why take it out on the dog? That's just a nasty person.
remains. We believe that Dan and Stephanie are deceased.
Since last weekend, missing person flyers have hung in windows at Olive Dell Ranch.
I just want some answers too.
Irene Encraft noticed the couple's car abandoned on a nearby road Sunday, and when they didn't show up to church, she went to their house.
We went in and there was Stephanie's purse and her and
Sorry, did I freeze them for a moment? I'm back. Yeah, it does that sometimes, doesn't it? It's that bloody, don't know what it is. I don't know why it does it. But anyway, I'm back. So I'm just going to go back a little bit because I'm not sure how much you saw missed. I was just saying how this twonk, tried to kill himself. But his gun froze or it misfired. So the police then negotiated with him and got him out of there. What the police have got to do now, though, I know they've caused all that wreckage, but they've got to make sure it's safe before they can go down and find the remains. Well, they found one body and they found the dog, but I believe there's still one more body to find. But the police do say that they're confident that they've not been, the body's not been formally identified, but they're confident there is one of the couple.
their phones were still there and everything. That's when we knew something. This isn't normal.
While the officers were here, they received a tip.
Following a tip Thursday, SWAT teams used armored vehicles to tear through Sparks' home, occasionally getting stuck in holes. Late Thursday night, the couple's...
Did you see what they did? So they used armored vehicles that just went in there. So they must have known for certain he was underneath in this bunker, because otherwise they wouldn't have been able to do that, because they might have killed him or the couple if the couple was still alive. So they obviously had information that he was in this underground bunker. I think it was from his family, so he must have been texting his family or something.
62-year-old neighbor surrendered to police underneath his house. Was there some sort of reported tunnel system underneath the house?
There are no tunnels that we can tell. There is a space about 5 feet deep.
So like a dugout bunker?
It was concrete. It goes back maybe to the back of the property.
Mike was very quiet and laid back. It's hard to believe.
He didn't like the Menards. He'd said it many times that he hated them. But I never thought he'd do something like this.
According to Redlands police, Sparks tried to shoot himself with a rifle, but it misfired moments before his arrest.
We're all shocked in that because they were good neighbors.
A neighborhood now mourning the lives of a couple they call friends. And tonight, the couple's dog named Cuddles is still missing. Crews are going to be back out here tomorrow digging for those remains.
Just to let you know, Cuddles has been found. He is deceased, unfortunately. Cuddles has been found. One body, they said, had been found, and they were looking for the other body.
Reporting live, Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
Matt, I have a quick question for you here. We're playing some video that we saw yesterday. We saw law enforcement, as we saw in your package. We saw them absolutely tearing this place apart in Redlands. At the time, we didn't know exactly what was going on. We heard some testimony in your piece, but how is the community reacting? What more are people saying? Do other people live at the Nudist Ranch?
There's a lot of people that live here and a lot of people that seem to really love this couple, as well as this man that, is allegedly responsible. And it seems like, generally speaking, no one can believe this happened. They heard of some, quarrels between these two neighbors. They lived right next to each other. One instance, for example, involving a tree in between the two properties. But generally speaking, no one expected anything like this to happen.
Has Sparks been charged yet? What comes next?
Yeah, police are charging him with murder. But right now, again, police are still looking for the actual bodies. They did say that they have discovered remains, but they couldn't really go into detail what that means or if it was the remains of two people, one person. So, again, tomorrow they're going to be doing that dig, and hopefully we'll have more answers then.
Matthew Seedorf reporting for us in Redlands tonight. Thanks, Matt. Let's take a break. We're back in 2 minutes.
Okay, so that's one news article. Let's have a look at this one. I mean, this has been all over the American news, you can imagine, because it's, obviously it's awful, just, two people being murdered by their neighbours and their little dog. People get outraged about little dogs getting murdered, really. I mean, it's nothing more than murder. I hope before the end of my lifetime, I mean, I know there is animal cruelty laws now, and quite often people get charged, people who commit murder or whatever, if there's a dog involved that's been killed or a pet of some kind. Quite often now charges do happen, but I'd like to see it called murder, because to me that is murder. That's a living soul, a pet. It's just, and it's just so unnecessary. It's just as unnecessary as killing the couple. So why it should be treated? Honestly, I just think in my eyes it should be treated exactly the same. Why should an animal be less? Pet animal, domestic animal that's done no harm to you and you have no reason to kill. Why should that be treated any differently from people? I mean, obviously this is a neighbour's dispute by the feel of it that's got completely out of hand. And as we've talked about neighbours, and you do sometimes, your neighbours get on your nerves, don't they? No, mine do. But yeah, you never know. If you move, you could end up with even worse neighbours. You could end up with someone like him. So obviously something somewhere has got out of hand. Maybe they've done nasty things to him in the past. Who knows? But it's got to a point where maybe he was just, on that slippery slope anyway. I think he lived on his own, and maybe had some mental health issues. All that is to come out yet.
This morning, a missing elderly couple from Southern California presumed dead, according to police, who suspect their neighbor of homicide. 79-year-old Dan Maynard and his wife, 73-year-old Stephanie, vanishing a week ago, last seen with their dog Cuddles at their Redlands, California home, located in a nudist ranch. Police finding their car.
So Cuddles looks like quite an elderly dog, doesn't it? It's a Shih Tzu, apparently. Cuddles looks a little bit elderly as well. At least they all went together. That's the only thing. All went together. I hope it was quick. You've just got to draw some comfort from that poor little thing.
Abandoned nearby. The couple's cell phones and Stephanie's purse inside their home. Days later, police involved in a standoff with the couple's neighbor. SWAT team seen approaching Sparks' property, then tearing through his home, eventually going in with guns drawn, forcing him to surrender.
We did locate him under the home.
Police arresting 62-year-old Michael Sparks in connection to the couple's disappearance, charging him with murder. On Friday, cadaver dogs detecting at least one body underneath his property. Hours later, officials searching and finding a bunker underneath the home.
Great couple, good Christians, good people, and so when they disappeared, it was just a very big blow to the entire community.
The exact motive of Sparks and what led to the couple's death remains unclear. Police tell us the investigation continues with their current focus on properly identifying the discovered bodies. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Yeah, so, right, okay. Now I'm going to show you the police conference I've got ready somewhere. All right, we'll watch this first. I don't think we've seen this one.
Guy 5, I'll send it back to you in the studio.
Gil, just want to get a clarification. Is this the residence of the missing couple?
We're not sure exactly which property it is. It is in the community where they live, though. So it's definitely within the community here. Like I said, on the northeastern side of the community. Now they're moving the battering ram upwards. So they look.
So they brought this armored vehicle with a great big battering ram. I mean, I tell you what, they didn't mess about. You've got to give them that. They were bloody right there. Now, look is this mess around his property been caused by them, or was it already a bit of a mess as well? I don't know. I do think when people live sort of out, we call it the campo here in Spain, there's quite often, do you think if you went to live at the campo, if you're in a casa de campo, as they call them, like a countryside house, you know, and you've normally got a bit of land around it and sparse neighbours, you'd think that'd be better, wouldn't you? That you wouldn't have so many arguments with neighbours. But from what I've found, they have big arguments with the boundary is always a problem. You know, the actual boundary, even if it's, you know, a long way in between the houses, wherever the boundary fence is with the neighbours is always some sort of a problem. I don't know. And, you know, and then it's what state they keep their house in, and you know, people have different expectations. I mean, my neighbours hang all their washing on their balustrade outside the house. They've got they put their washing thing on the little patio they've got at the front of the house. Anyone walking up and down the street, it's just all this washing hanging out like a bloody, you know, like a gypsy camp or something. You know, I just think, I mean, I'm not a snob, believe me, but I don't, you know, it does look awful. Why do they do that? Because you can't be asked going upstairs. Well, they've got actually like a side garden as well. They don't know why they can't be asked to do it, putting it there. It's too much effort to walk all the way down to the garden or walk all the way up to the roof where they've got a great big sunroof where the washing would be dry in about 30 seconds. No, going to hang it over the balustrade so their house looks like people are camping out in there, and then they moan about everything. Just like, honest to God, you couldn't make it up. So I think this is part of the problem often between neighbours, isn't it? Is people have different ideas of what they think is acceptable or not acceptable. They think that's perfectly acceptable. You know, but there's probably things I do. I don't know what. I try not to do anything, but she likes a good moan. The woman that lives there, she moans about everything. You know, but she can't seem to see that. If you looked at her house, it just looks like a gypsy encampment. Just anyway. But so looking at this, I'm thinking, is some of this rubbish and that out here? Was it already there? Did he have like a messy house? Did they argue about that maybe? You know, often with these sort of residential places like complexes, people like it all to be exactly the same, don't they? And they get annoyed with people who don't keep their property like you know, they keep theirs and blah, 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 blah. There's so many things that it's possible to argue about.
Looks like they're happy with what they've done there. We'll see if they try to clear that vehicle, that SUV, out of the driveway to give them more access or not. He's going to start moving that vehicle now. So we'll see what they decide to do at this point. So far, no activity in the backyard or in the surrounding areas here, but they have this area completely shut down.
And Gil, you're very experienced. You've seen SWAT and standoffs and things that happen. Why the battering ram? Why not just knock on the door or go into the home? Do you think they've gotten intel that possibly someone's being held captive?
That could be. You know, they were really concerned, I think, with this piece of item, or this item, I should say, that was covering those windows. It looked like it was a metal awning, maybe, that was covering those windows.
I mean, it does look like a shithole, doesn't it? This house that they're going into, and it looks, you know, it really. I don't think they've only just started there, so I don't think they've made all this mess.
That people might be able to see out of, but the police could not see into. So they definitely cleared that out. Now they're backing up. It's unclear what they're going to do at this point, but they wanted to clear that. I think they wanted to clear that awning thing that was covering the windows to make sure that they had some visibility into that property.
Now, what you're talking about on there, body corporates, that's in Australia, is it? In Spain, they're called communities. Now, I don't live on a community, which thank God, because if you've got a community, if you've got any communal area, it's called a community, and they have to elect a president who ends up like a little Hitler, you know, running around making rules left, right. You know, you can't breathe unless it's a Wednesday, that sort of thing. And I've got a student at the moment who unfortunately moved into one of them, bought a lovely place, and he's already put his place up for sale because he just can't stand it any longer. So it's things like you're not allowed to put cameras up. You're not allowed to if you put an awning up, the colour has got to be approved by the community. You're not allowed to, kids can go in the pool, but they're not allowed to take in inflatables or anything like that. There's a million rules of this community. And my student has just bumped heads with the president terribly over various things. And so he's already put his house up for sale. He wants to go and live somewhere else. But I said to him, don't go to another community, because you'll just get exactly the same thing again. Trouble is, you don't know this before you buy a place in Spain. People who are buying places in Spain, they don't understand what it's like to live in a community. I lived in a community before I came here. That was just a nightmare. Luckily for me, I was only renting there, so I didn't have to get that involved in it. But every year they have their AGM, and I've done a lot of interpreting at AGMs, because most of the people don't understand Spanish, and the AGM has to be in Spanish, because obviously we're in Spain. And I've quite often gone and interpreted for clients, and I'm being paid, and by the end of it, by the time 3-4 hours have gone, I'm trying to bring it to a close. I'm trying to wind it down desperately, even though I'm getting paid for being there, because I'm just I can't stand it any longer. The things that they're arguing about, what colour the sunbed should be, or should you be allowed to take a picnic hamper thing to the pool, or should you be allowed plastic glasses? Should you be allowed to drink anything at the pool, even in plastic glasses? What's the bloody point of having a pool if you can't go and sit around and have a nice drink in the summer? Yes, I understand glasses are dangerous, but as long as you take plastic, all these things. Oh, you just won't believe it. So yeah, that sounds a bit like what you two are talking about, Maria and Kelly. Communities, they're called here, because you have to pay your community charges every year, and that the community charges are for the upkeep of the communal areas like the pool, the gardens, etc. So because of that, everybody's got, and there might be 60 houses in this community, so you've got 60 people all with their point of view. How are you going to come to an agreement between 60 people? It's not going to happen.
Well, we can only surmise that this is not the actual home that the missing couple lives in, because as we saw in Shelby Nelson's report, a couple of neighbors and close friends actually have a key to their residence and had actually been inside already. So this is obviously, I can't say obviously, but this must be another home in that community.
Yeah, I don't believe this is the home. Unfortunately, the streets here, like I said, they're semi-paved, semi-dirt roads. They're not labeled, at least on our map system anyways. They're not given a name. So really, it's the 26,000 block of Kiesel Road is what the address comes back to. And that's part of the problem for us, is figuring out exactly where the couple's home is, and according to where this property is.
So is it just Redlands SWAT that is on the scene right now?
So I was just trying to put a comment there, Maria. You said you've only got 4 units where you are, and I was trying to write 4 is good. So I tried it with the number 4 is good. YouTube rejected it as spam. So then I put 4FOUR is good, and it rejected that as spam as well. Honest to God, at YouTube, I just don't understand. I bet I could go on there and write a lot of worse things that would get accepted. What the hell is that? 4 is good. How is that spam?
It is. Let me come out real quick and show you the command post. There's quite a large presence. You can see that road is blocked off by several Redlands officers' vehicles here. Here's the where they are basing their vehicles, and here's the command post on the curve there. So they have this area here set up for that command post. It's not very far from the house that they're working on right now, but you can see how they have worked this particular road. They've gone up the road with that SWAT vehicle, and now they're right in front of this property. So it's unclear exactly how close this is to the actual couple's property.
Okay, once again, if you're just joining us, this is a situation where an elderly couple in Redlands in this community has been missing at least since Sunday. Shelby Nelson, who was there on the ground, reported earlier that a couple of neighbors that they usually go to church with, they had not heard from them. They happened to have a key to their place, and they went inside, and the woman who lived in the house, she has to walk with a cane because she has multiple sclerosis. Her cane was in the house. I believe she said the couple's cell phones were also in the house, but the couple and their dog were nowhere to be seen. So it's kind of a mystery what has happened to this couple. Obviously, I guess their vehicle was still there, and if she has MS and he has early dementia.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Did he kill them in the house? In their house? Because if all their possessions were there, but the couple weren't there and the dog wasn't there. But having said that, if he killed them in the house, wouldn't there have been blood everywhere? They don't mention, maybe there was and they're just not mentioning it. But so, you know, the mystery is going to be, you know, where did he kill them? Why did he kill them? How did he get them? I presume he put them in his, he must have that. I presume he put them in that white van that's outside his house, took them to his house. Was he thinking he was going to hide them in the basement? You know, did he think he might have got away with that until he could take them somewhere else? I don't know.
As Shelby reported, then it's very unlikely that they would have walked out of their residence and then gone walking down the road. And, you know, it's also, as you can see, kind of a desert community, so and very hot. So it's a big mystery right now what exactly has happened to them.
Yeah, Dan and Stephanie Maynard, both, one's 78, one is 73, and they were last seen on Saturday, the 24th, around 10 o'clock in the morning. And they also have a little dog, and that dog, when they went into the home, was also gone. So the couple and the dog have been missing since the 24th, since that time. And now today, it looks like the SWAT team has gone into this other home. And again, we continue to say it's unclear if this is their home, the neighbor's home, a suspect's home. That is unclear at this hour.
Okay, so now let's watch the police conference after. So this is the police conference after they were found, or after the man was arrested.
We are about to learn new information on the disappearance of a couple at a nudist resort and the arrest of their neighbor for murder.
Investigators are about to reveal details in a news conference, and it's starting right now. Okay, our producer letting us know it's starting right now. Let's go ahead and check in.
Yesterday afternoon, Redlands police conducted a search of a residence here at the Olive Dell Resort for a person of interest involved in the disappearance of Dan and Stephanie Maynard. Last night at about 9:30, we located that subject and he was arrested. He has been charged with murder and the couple's death. The suspect is Michael Royce Sparks, 62 years old, and he was a neighbor of Dan and Stephanie's. This morning, Redlands police are back out on scene. Last night, there was significant damage that was done to the suspect's residence when we broke in to search it. And we had to secure the scene overnight to make sure that it was safe for personnel to enter. So this morning, we're waiting for that to be shored up so that we can begin a search. We have cadaver dogs that will be here from the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, and we will be using those to try to locate the victims, Dan and Stephanie. We are confident that they are deceased and that they are still here on the property.
So it seems pretty certain that they're deceased. There'll be reasons for that. There's a lot to come out, obviously. You know, this literally is just an evolving case. there'll be a reason that they know that they are deceased, or that there'll be a reason that they knew he was in there in the bunker. They'd obviously got information that we don't know about yet. But it'll come out as time goes on. But it's so very sad for this couple and their little dog.
And I'm available to take any questions.
Has he given you any information on where to locate the bodies?
I can't speak to anything that he said, but we are confident that the bodies are here on site.
Has he been cooperative?
Let me say that he surrendered voluntarily. I won't say he's been cooperative, but he did surrender voluntarily last night after lengthy negotiations.
When you say that he on the relationship between the couple and the...
So that's interesting, isn't it? You know, that he said, I won't say he's cooperating, but he surrendered voluntarily. So, yeah, because apparently he did try to do himself in, as I say, but the gun didn't work. So maybe he only had one gun, one bullet left, who knows? But Chummy, you've just reminded me. So remember, you can always catch up. You know, you don't have to watch the live. You can watch the video as well. But I want to say hello to Replay Crew and to people watching at home who don't join in the chat. Forgot to say that. It's very important because I know a lot of people watch afterwards. Hi, and thanks for watching.
I can only say that he's their neighbor. I'm not going to speak to what their relationship was.
When you say you're confident the bodies are on the property, do you mean inside this home as well? His home?
We believe the bodies are on the site of his home. Yes.
And how did you find him? I know you were looking for him last night, but ultimately,
Yesterday morning, Redlands police were on site simply conducting further investigation, searching the area, knocking on the doors of neighbors. While we were here on site, we received information from a source that a person who was involved in their disappearance was here on the property. At that point, we locked down the property and we began the investigation and the attempt to locate and contact him. We did ultimately go to his home. We tried several attempts to contact him with no contact whatsoever. And eventually we did bring in equipment from the Riverside Sheriff's Office called a TAC CAT that we used to breach the home, make entrance, and then used remote video to search the area. Last night at about...
Well, they didn't mess around, did they? I mean, I think, you know, you've got to say they were pretty hands-on going for this. So it's just a shame that the couple obviously were already deceased, but it's a shame. But at least the police certainly went for it, that's for sure.
9:30, we did locate him, and after some negotiation with him, he did surrender voluntarily.
was he here?
Was he?
Was he any idea of some motive? Why would he do this?
I'm not going to speak to motive. He was here in his home.
He wasn't.
Yes, he was under the home. Let me clarify that. He was under the home.
On that note, someone who is a neighbor told us that.
Yeah, so it's very specific that it was under the home. There's a woman here shouting questions. You know, she's one of the, you know, I'll get annoyed with these journalists sometimes. The questions that they ask. You just think, why? You've got all that. You're there. You can ask any question you want. Why ask questions that you know he can't answer or that is already answered? Or, you know, they waste their questions, some of these reporters.
That's some sort of tunnel underneath to his home. And yesterday when SWAT responded, I saw the truck and I moved up inside. Are you able to confirm that it appears like there may be a tunnel or some sort of room he had?
I can't comment on that other than to say that he was under the home when he was located.
Friends of the couple say they were involved in some sort of lawsuit against the ranch. Do you know anything about that? Can you talk about that?
I don't have any information on that.
Does the suspect have a prior record?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Was the ranch on lockdown? I noticed a lot of cars coming through this morning. So were they able to return?
The residents that aren't in the immediate area of the suspect and the victim's home were still on site while we were doing the search last night, and they've been able to remain on site. The area immediately surrounding his home was evacuated, but those residents are back now.
And just to clarify, were all three of them members of the resort? Did they live within the fence
The victims and the suspect, yes, they were all residents here.
All residents of the resort.
Yes.
And do we know how long they've been staying here? They look like permanent residents?
I don't know. I don't know how long they've been here. I believe it's been some time.
What happens now in the investigation?
Currently, we are trying to locate the victims. At that point, then we'll move on from there. But right now, our concentration is on first making the structure safe so that we can enter it, and then using the cadaver dogs and our search team to locate the victims.
How about relatives, family members, close family members get in touch with you about
As part of the investigation, I know that detectives did speak with family members of the couple.
Are they local?
I don't know that.
Is there a reason that they're deceased? Is it because they've been missing for so long, or is there something specific that makes you believe that they are?
We have information to make us believe that they're deceased.
And is that the dog as well? Like, was the dog recovered?
We don't have any word on Cuddles, their dog.
So yesterday when you went in
So just in case you missed earlier, but they do now. They have found Cuddles. Unfortunately, Cuddles' body has been found.
Heavy equipment, and we're kind of tearing down and going in. You didn't know that he was beneath the home at the time. Can you talk a little bit? I know you were concerned about the safety of the officers. Was there a fear that he was kind of lying there somewhere in wait for those officers?
We believed that he was in the home, and as a precaution, we used the equipment to make the entry and search the home.
And you believe the murder took place here on the property?
I don't have any information on where the murder occurred, but we do believe that the bodies are here on the property.
So backtrack just a little bit. Was he exactly when he voluntarily surrendered? Was he inside his property? Was he under?
He was.
Under the property? Can you just walk us through that a little bit?
He was underneath the home on his property, and we located him during the search and negotiated with him to exit.
Was he in the process of doing something in particular while he was under?
I don't know.
Was it more of a crawl space type of thing, or just?
I'm not going to comment on exactly what it is.
To be clear, you don't know where the bodies are. You're going to be conducting a search today.
We are conducting a search using cadaver dogs and search teams. We believe the bodies are on his property, but we haven't confirmed that.
Has he led you to believe that? Has he provided information stating that there's bodies are here?
We have information to lead us to believe that the bodies are there on the site.
Was that from the visual search from the chopper, or?
I can't comment on what that information is or where it came from.
How shocking is this to you?
Well, my personal opinion doesn't really matter, but it's certainly it's shocking to, I think, to any average person.
I mean, do you see what I'm saying? Don't you think that's a stupid question? How shocking is this to you? I mean, the guy's a police officer. He's not there to. It's not about him, his life, or what he thinks. He's a police officer. He's there to answer questions about the nuts and bolts of the investigation. And she's saying to him, and is this shocking to you? Of course it's shocking. It's shocking to any normal person.
But it's an elderly couple. I mean, they are loved by the community. People were concerned enough to put up flyers to call you. So I'm sure that they had a connection.
Yeah, the community was clearly distraught over this. We understand that, and we're trying to respect that feeling.
Do we know how long he lived on the property?
I don't know. Okay. If there are more updates to provide, I will do that. I'll come out probably in a couple of hours and at least say nothing more, or if there is something, then I'll give that to you then. Yes, ma'am.
All right. So we just wrapped up that press conference in Redlands where the police talking about the investigation that's now underway. They need to locate the bodies of would appear to be murder victims at this point in time. And the suspect is in custody, 62-year-old Michael Royce Sparks. We learned that as well, a neighbor of the couple.
Yeah, and Dan and Stephanie Maynard missing. They are presumed to have been murdered, and presumably their bodies are in that home.
Yeah,
So.
and so many more questions. We don't know motive. He was under the house. What does that mean? They had a bulldoze to get in. Why? We're not getting a lot of those answers at this point in time. So we'll continue to follow it and bring you any new information as it comes in.
Okay, so while I was watching that, I just had a look to see about nudist parks in California. So this has really tweaked my interest now. The thing about nudist parks is you would imagine they have to be in warm places, don't they? I mean, you wouldn't imagine there'd be many nudist parks in Antarctica or Alaska, but you never know. I suppose you never know. But in California, look, there's quite a lot. If you wanted to go to a nudist park, even though that one currently, oh my God, all those. Who'd have thought it was so popular? Nudist parks, California, that's just California. You know, so, ooh. A lot. There's a lot, basically. So it's obviously quite popular. Oh, look, that's only $56, that one. They seem to go from, oh my God, that one is $4,680. I think I'll give that a miss. But there you go. If you want to go nude in California, you can go to the Panamint Springs Resort for only $56. But if you really want to go up market, you can go sort of to Utah for $4,680. Let's. Oh, is that the one? Let's see. Yeah, Panamint Springs, $56. I don't think I'd want to go to Death Valley National Park. Just interesting. You know, the different prices. And there's quite a lot, isn't there? Just going to have a look if there's any in Spain. I think Sitges is one. Mediterranean coast. Here we go. So, if you fancy a bit of nudity in the sun, there's two on Fuerteventura, and then these they seem to be mainly along the coast. I should say naturist camps. Oh, Cartagena, that surprises me. Marbella, Malaga, Girona. Yeah, none in Madrid. How strange. So most of them are on the coast. Interesting. I just get, it interests me, these little things, once I start looking at things. Okay, so that's it. So that's the very sad story. As I say, lots more to come out about this. This elderly couple, Stephanie and Dan, what's their surname? Maynard. So Stephanie is 73 years old and Dan is 79 years old. And that's their little dog, Cuddles, in the middle, who also looks quite elderly, doesn't he? Bless him. So it seems like they've all been murdered by their neighbour, Michael Sparks. So much more to come out. 62 years old. bunkered down underneath his house, and the SWAT team had to virtually lay his house level so that they could get to him. But eventually they negotiated with him, and he's come out. So I hope he's communicating with police and cooperating. They said he wasn't being cooperative, but he was at least, dealing with their questions. But they said the police officer just said then he wouldn't call it cooperative exactly. Okay, well, I'll keep you informed of any developments, of course. Now, just to finish off, what I want to do is I'm going to put on my my videos about Spanish classes coming to that time of year. Now, for some of you may not know, obviously those who've been watching me for a while, you know that in my other life I am a Spanish teacher, but we're coming up to the time now where people want to learn Spanish. In the autumn, that's a big time. And so I'm going to put up my video about the Spanish books I offer on Amazon and about the Spanish classes that I do. And also I'm going to put the video up about my book, Confessions of a Spanish Teacher, which is about sort of my early life, I suppose, or how I ended up to come and live in Spain and be a Spanish teacher in the first place. So I'm going to put those videos up. Some of you have seen them, you won't want to see them again. You can always just click out, or you might just want to carry on chatting. Which reminds me, why not become a member? If you enjoy my content, why not become a member of my channel for a special exclusive live stream twice a week? Okay, so I'll see you really soon in the next video. Have a good Sunday, everybody, and take care. I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Did you ever want to know a little bit more about me and my background, how I came to become interested in true crime, how I ended up in Spain being a Spanish teacher? If you want to know a little bit about me, a little bit more about me as a person, you can find my book, Confessions of a Spanish Teacher, on any Amazon site, wherever you live in the world. And I believe that everyone has a story to tell, and this is my story. So it's the story of how I grew up in Manchester in the UK on a council estate, and very humble beginnings, and my journey through personal tragedies, disastrous romances, and triumphs to become a single mum, a Spanish teacher, and an interpreter living in Spain, and eventually a YouTuber reporting on true crime. So it details my various experiences with people and places over 20 years of teaching, over 20 years now. Ooh, where did that go? Of teaching Spanish and interpreting through the backdrop of the recession, financial uncertainty, severe flooding, and living through COVID. I hope you will find it funny, sad, amazing, silly, serious, and stranger than fiction at times. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope to make you angry at least once. I hope to make you cry at least twice, and I hope to make you laugh many, many times. So thank you for all your support on my YouTube channel, and if you want to know a little bit more about me as a person, then you can find out there. So thank you so much. See you very soon in the next video. And as always, till then, may your God go with you. Bye. Oh, I was miles away there watching that video. And then the next one about the Spanish classes. I am still here. I am still here. I was just miles away. Hola, soy Vicky. And are you wanting to learn Spanish? Have you been trying to learn Spanish and it's just you can't put the words together? Common thing that people say to me is, I know a lot of words, but I just can't put a sentence together. So I'm here to tell you how you can learn Spanish through English. Learn how to make sentences, not phrasebook Spanish. Learn how to ask questions, answer questions. Right from beginner or whatever level you are, if you're struggling in putting it all together, there'll be a level I can offer you a solution. So I've been teaching Spanish for over 20 years to English-speaking people. And these are the books that I have written. Break the Language Barrier Level 1 for beginners. Level 2 for intermediate or sort of pre-intermediate. Level 3 intermediate. Level 4 upper intermediate. And level 5 for advanced. There's really level 5 is to practice what you've already learned. So if you've already learned a lot of Spanish, but you want some practice with translations, conversation practice, games, etc., level 5 is for you. If you know more than level 1, in other words, you know how to already speak in the present tense, if your grammar has gone past the present tense but you're struggling with the past tenses, level 2 is the book for you. All these books are available on Amazon. Any Amazon, wherever you are in the world that you want to learn Spanish, you can order one of my books from Amazon. The other thing you can do, you may be interested in Zoom classes. I've left my contact details here on the video so that you can WhatsApp me or email me if you want to know about Zoom classes and how they work. Or another way you can learn is, along with the book, have recorded classes to learn. So although we're not sort of face-to-face as we would be on a Zoom class, you can still ask me questions. You can watch the class, on the video, watch the class which goes with the book. All the books have everything is, the classes, I can either teach you face-to-face like we're talking now in Zoom classes, or if either your budget doesn't run that far or you haven't got the time for Zoom classes, we can do it as a course where you get the book and you get the actual recorded classes, and you can learn in your own time, but you can still ask me questions by email, just not in the moment because it's not an actual one-to-one class, but you'll find that is reflected in the price. So if you want more details of how you can become better at Spanish, and remember, it's always progress, not perfection that we're looking for. Perfection is impossible. Believe me, if you're going for perfection, that's not going to happen for a long time, if ever. But communication, confidence, fluidity, all those add up to be fluency, don't they? Okay, so my books offer explanations in English, step-by-step, easy-to-follow grammar, gradual build of vocabulary and conversation skills, and all the answers are included, and you always have full internet backup. In other words, you can always email me or WhatsApp me a question and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Okay, so what are you waiting for? If you want to learn Spanish, don't hesitate. Okay, gracias y hasta pronto. Yay! Now I really am going now. So I just want to say a special thank you to anybody who actually got all the way to the end. Thank you so much. And goodbye to all of you that were here, but also goodbye to the replay crew, anyone watching this on catch up. Thank you. Okay, I really am going now. Adios, amigos.